Hello everyone, my name is Teacher Lena and welcome to my channel. In this video, I wanted to share with you all some things that I purchased from the dollar store recently. As an online teacher, there's always stuff that you can get as a teacher from the dollar store. And even though their price was up a little bit, which I was not really happy about, I was still able to get some really good deals on some things for using in my classroom, and I wanted to share them with you and show you how I put them together to make different stuff. So I'll show you what I bought, and then I will show you how I put them together and what I was able to create with them and how I'm going to be using them. So this is what I have, the number magnets that you can actually, you can do a lot of different games with these. I'm going to stick them to my cookie pans so that I can hold them up in the classroom. And then I also have these repositionable letters that you can keep using and using and using. They're not magnets, but you could still stick them and reposition them to a different place. So this is what the front of them look like. They're called poster stickers, but they're peel and stick, and then you can move them around. And then there's my pans, my cookie pans that in the past I have colored them, I've painted them so that they look a little bit just more colorful, but I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do with those this time. I might not. I might just leave them as is, but you can take some spray paint and spray over them. I've actually taken a little spongy stick and used my paint and just painted them like that, and it stays on pretty well, you know. I mean, just try not to scratch it. But anyhow, next is Post-it notes. I'm going to use those to cover over some of my games and just add covers to some of my games, and I'll show you what I'll do. I got some colored index cards. I got some Play-Doh that I can use for, I'm going to add some theme days in my classes, and we're going to do like P is for Play-Doh day. So I'm going to do that. I got another one of these dry erase boards, which, to be honest with you, this is something I use each and every day, and mine is really worn out, so I got another one. I probably could have got more than one to replace it, but that's what I got. And then these are the stickers that I'm going to use for matching games. You can print out different pictures to use in your matching games, but I'm going to use the stickers. I just thought saving, make it a little faster and quicker, and these are colorful and fun. So I just got 2 of each kind, made sure that they're big enough to use, and I'm going to stick them to some paper and cover them over with one of those either stickies or index cards, and make it into a game for the kids to play, and I'll show you how that turns out. And then this is my sticky. I got some pop dot tape. I'm hoping that this is kind of like a repositionable tape too. I haven't ever used it. I was looking for just like some tape that I can actually move around, but I didn't see the stuff that I used before, so I got this one, and we'll see how it works. I would also be able to use something like sticky tack. That would be good. I just don't want tape, regular tape, because it's going to stick to my paper and rip it, so I'm looking for something that won't rip my paper. So, and then there's my flashcards that I already have flashcards, but you know, it just makes it more interesting if you have a variety of flashcards when you're teaching young kids. So I got some more of those. Let's get into the things that I was able to make for my classes. But before I get into that, I do want to say that even though most of my classes as an online teacher is done with Google Slides. I use Google Slides a lot in my classes. I'm a teacher on Outschool. If you're here for the first time, and if you may not know this, I do teach classes on a platform called Outschool. It's where you design your own classes, and I have done a lot of teaching for ESL companies also. So, but primarily right now I'm using Outschool to offer my classes. And so I use Google Slides, which I do like a lot. But the thing is that sometimes you just want to change things up in your classes, right? You just want to provide something a little bit different than, your normal digital content. I think it gets kind of old, especially since I'm teaching younger kids. They need variety to keep their interest, so you have to change things up a lot, and always looking at the screen, kind of gets tired. Even though, a lot of the games and stuff that we do are interesting and fun, I think just the view gets to be monotonous for them. And I've even heard sometimes when I share my screen, and I have a group of students, then that will change their view, and then they can't see their friends or their classmates anymore. And for them, that's kind of a bummer, because they come to class a lot of times looking forward to seeing their other classmates and learning with their other classmates. So I have found that I like, changing up my class flow a little bit so that they get a variety is really good for them. So I spend more time in the beginning just kind of talking and sharing, and maybe doing some flashcards and doing things that don't require me to use Google Slides. And then I will move into using my Google Slides later on at the end of the class, or sometimes not at all. Actually, one of the reasons why I went to the dollar store to get a whole bunch of new stuff is because one of my newer students, for some reason, every time I would share my screen, it would pop them out, or it would freeze their video, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and neither could their mom figure out what it was on their end. So I wanted for that child to benefit from the class still, and I also wanted for everyone else to benefit from the class. So I had to figure out another way to teach the class not using my Google Slides. And so I came up with a whole bunch of other things to use and to still teach the content. And I had to come up with, a variety of things. So I bought more stuff to add to my class to make it more fun for that class and for other classes too. So it works for everyone. And by the way, I do teach a lot of different types of classes. So I might, I have some reading classes. I have some like preschool circle time classes. I have classes that are just like one-on-one tutoring classes. I have, classes where we're just kind of beginning reading books. We're reading them together, but all my classes involve some type of game to help keep their interest. We might do a little bit of reading and, learning, and then do a game to, break it up, and then do, more learning later on. So I have a lot of games to keep their attention. So with all of that said, let's get into the things that I was able to make for my classes. Okay, so I got that. I got the cookie pan from the dollar store, and here my camera is going to kind of adjust. One thing about the camera is I don't like the way it like darkens me when I bring these things up, but we just have to deal with it. But that's what happens when you have shiny material, or when you have something that's really bright, but it adjusts. And with my Logitech C920 camera, it balances out the light a lot better than what my old Logitech did. So just, a little note about, things that you can, cameras that you might be interested in purchasing. I do suggest a Logitech, but the Logitech C920 is much better. But anyhow, so this was the first thing. I do a lot of memory games in my classes. So I was, I had the sticky notes, and I did use the that double-sided tape that I showed you. I used that double-sided tape for a couple things. Let me show it to you. This double-sided tape, I was hoping it was going to be kind of like a removable tape, but you can remove, it's not so easy to remove. Once you stick it, it pretty much sticks. I mean, on this material, it's okay, but like for other surfaces, it's not really good for removing material. But if I can stick it to the pan with the removable tape, but then once I take the paper off of the pan, then it's gonna stick to everything else. And so I covered it with a little bit of paper. I don't know if you can see that, it's a little bit of paper, so it won't stick to all my other things. But then after I did that, I thought, wait, I remember I have these little magnets right here. These little magnets, which I used in my classroom before when I was a brick and mortar teacher. And these little guys, you get them on Amazon for like, $6. You get like 20 of them. They are really good for this type of setup. You could they just stick anything to your board, and they're not really noticeable. So I'm gonna use that instead to hold this to my cookie sheet. And for like the sticky notes really work really good for taking stuff on and off. I decided that would be the best thing if I wanted to like reuse them. Although these sticky notes, I mean, once you take them off, you can put them back on, but after a while, they're probably gonna get a little bit worn. But I have a lot of them, so I can keep on making more, which doesn't take that long. That's one way to do it. But then I came up with another way, which I'll show you later on in the video. But yeah, this is my first memory game. I was able to write the numbers on the sticky notes and then use those removable stickers to add onto the paper. This is just like some hard paper, that I had, like firm paper that you can use, cardstock. I recommend using cardstock. And then, the student will say, you ask them which pick two numbers, and then, you uncover two of them, and they didn't get it. So you put those back, and then you let, someone else go, or you go, or however you want to do it. Now, yeah, I try to keep these in neat rows, but in the middle of the game, they might not be exactly lined up the way they started out. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be a perfectionist with this game. The kids are more interested in having fun than all of having everything lined up. So don't get too worried about that. And then when I do decide where to put my letters for the game or whatever it is, I try to keep them close together for the younger kids, because when they pick numbers, they usually say like, I want 1 and 2. Or, and then if that's a match, then hey, great, but they might say 5 and 4, or they might say 1 and 5, but they tend to do it kind of close together. And so that's just the way I like to do it, because if you spread them all out, it just makes it harder and the game goes a lot longer. And for these little guys, when you have 25 minutes with them, you want to make this game go pretty quick. You don't want it to last forever. And because it's not an even number of spaces, I decided to put a little smiley sticker in one of those. I was like, oh, that's a freebie. That's going to be the freebie spot. So if they could either pick again, or you can count that as a match. I would just let them pick again. But yeah, and I had those smiley face stickers in my stash of stickers from before. So that was one game I made with that. And then I made several along the same lines. Hold on, I'm just going to turn my phone off. There. I made several other games like this, like the first one. I'll show you all. I made one because this game is so good for learning a lot of things. It's good for numbers, if you want the little guys to practice their numbers, or for, you know, other students who are learning their sight words and you want to use sight words to emphasize or reinforce those, you know, you could write words on these. And then what did I put under there? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I had these stickers, these ice cream shiny stickers. You know, I think they will like or appreciate those. And again, you know, there's another smiley face right there in the middle. So that was another one that I made with this style of game. And then I made this one. As I'm putting them on here, I'm realizing you might even be able to get away with not having to stick them to the board. They just kind of rest on this lip right here. So that's makes it real easy too. But then this is another one that, you know, for practicing numbers, counting by tens, you know, if you're trying to practice these numbers for younger students. So, you know, adding those numbers on there. And then we had, I think, oh yeah, these were the unicorn stickers that were under there that I chose for this game. So that was another one I did. And oh, then I used the spaceship ones. This one is a little different. I've actually used this one since making it. So one of the stickers fell off. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what happened with that. But not that these things are easy to come off. I guess I just didn't stick it on there well enough. I don't know what happened. But anyhow, yeah, putting the stickers on top of the sticky notes is another way to do it too. And then they just choose, you know, the picture, obviously. And then under here, it's like, now it's like, it's a reverse. Oh, you got the number one. So now they're learning to identify the number one, and you have to try to find the other number one. You know, they're, oh, there it is right up there. So they're matching number words on this one. So that's another way to do it too. But after doing all of these fun ones, I mean, they're all fun. This next group are going to be fun too. I actually thought, well, what if I could actually, after sampling it in the class, I mean, it works, but I was like, is there another way to do this? So you know, if you are a brick and mortar teacher, then you also know about pocket charts. And so I thought, can I make a pocket chart for my classroom? Because, I mean, yeah, if I had a pocket chart for, you know, that I use in the classroom, I could use that. But because most of the things that I do are like right in this space, it's kind of hard to fit a pocket chart in my space here because they're pretty big. So and then, you know, being able to move it around and all, I just like to be able to have it in hand. So this size works really good for me. There's another game back there that I'll show you later on, but that's the reason why you see the pink. So I have my little magnets here. I'm gonna stick them right there. But this is my pocket chart idea, which I'm gonna go into more in depth in another video. But yeah, I came up with this, and you know, I used the white paper cardstock, and then I made my little pockets, and I was able to, I used just a dull type of tape because I don't like it to be real shiny. You know, I try to get rid of the shininess on the camera. And so a dull type of tape, or I thought also another way to stick it on would have been rubber cement. If anybody doesn't really like, you know, the tape, I mean, you can't really see the tape that much, but if you just, you know, for some reason you don't like using the tape, rubber cement could be another thing that you could possibly use. And then you just cut, these are my little index cards. I cut them in half. See, and they have the lines on the back. I cut them in half. And then, you know, this is another way you can play the same games. I could put a sticker here on the front as a way for them to choose which one they want what they want for me to turn over. And then on this side, it could be a word that they can, you know, try to sound out, or it could be a number, or it could be, you know, whatever it is that you want to use to help them practice in this game. Or you can put words on the front. I've done that on the other games too, and in my my beginning reading class, I do that a lot when we're trying to sound out the words, and I'm like, okay, which one do you want? Gotta sound it out, you know, cat. Okay, let's pick cat. And then they'll turn it over, and then maybe the sticker's on the other side, so you could do it both ways. But I thought I loved this. I'm excited to use this. As I was making it, I was cutting the little pockets. I was trying to be very careful to cut them straight. The kids can't really tell how straight it is, but so I'm not really worried about that part. But you know, sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I can tell that those lines are not straight. So if you had a paper cutter, you might want to use your paper cutter for this type of game, or to make it. But what I did do was I did draw a line. And I just freehanded and cut it. I cut it freehand to try to make the line as straight as I possibly could with my scissors. But even when you do that, you know, it still doesn't always come out super straight, but that's okay. You know, it's not about being a perfectionist. We're not trying to do that. You know, we're just trying to make some fun for our kids. So I try to fight the perfectionist tendencies when making these games, because the kids are not really going to care. They're not, you know, you probably can't even see the lines, like I was saying before, how if they're even or not from where you are. So I'm excited to use this game. And then I'm going to take these magnets off. I'll show you what I did with those magnetic numbers, which were very handy. I was able to hide them under the sticky notes, and I turned everything around. So I have the magnetic numbers under here. So, I mean, this is just another version of doing it. You know, you can see there's a magnetic numbers. You can play the game where they try to find the matches. The numbers are under there. But I don't know, I'm not so sure that I'm going to use it that way. I might use these magnetic numbers in another way with this board, but you know, it's just a good way to have the numbers and be able to practice the numbers with the kids in a different way, instead of always having, like I said, the Google Slides. With ManyCam though, I'm able to display numbers on my screen too, so that's a lot of fun for the kids. To practice numbers with. That's just a different way. And then I also have the flashcards. I mean, I showed you the flashcards, what I bought. This was the alphabet flashcards. Now, and these are good. I prefer the flashcards that just have the letter by itself, so it's not really confusing, especially when they're first learning the letters. And then maybe the picture on the back. But on the back of this is that. So I was kind of surprised that they had all of these had just that play school picture on the back. So I'm not really sure why they did it like that. But anyhow, that's what those cards ended up looking like. And then I got 2 sets. I have 2 sets of the number cards, and you know, these are still good for practicing numbers. But the only thing about these, though, I don't like the way that they have that print right there on the side. You can't really see it too much, but I wish that they didn't have that there. And then on the back is the objects. So here's the number 1, and then on the back is a picture of 1 apple. So that's what those look like. And then I had the other set were this. There's number 1 with 1 bushel of grapes. To me, that's a little bit confusing. You know, oh, how many do you see? They might start trying to count all the little grapes. So I don't know, that might be a little bit tricky for them. But anyhow, that's what those cards look like. If you were interested in purchasing some cards from the dollar store, that's what you'd end up with. After making all of the things that I did put quite a few things together. But after making them, I'll just show it. Like, I only used a few stickers, and this was $1, and I used a few of those. And the other pack is still full because I bought 2 of each set. This one, I used a few. I still have so many stickers left to make so many more activities with them. So I think that $1.25, I should say, went very far. I'm very happy with that. And you know, these few items I could do a whole lot of things with. So I'm pretty happy with what I found and what I'm able to do with them. And I hope that this was helpful. if you liked any of the things and think that you might actually make something, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. So please share your ideas of what, how I can improve these activities. Maybe you can think of some ways that they could be better. I'd love to hear from you too, because, this is just a beginning for me with these activities. So maybe, I could improve them. Definitely, there's always room for improvement. So share what your ideas are, if you like them, if you think your kids would find them fun, and if you have any other games that you think are fun to use too. I will say that another game that I often use that I could probably make with these things is tic-tac-toe. I do that all the time with my Google Slides with my kids. All of my students, they love tic-tac-toe, even if they're first learning it for the first time. Like my 4 and 5-year-olds, they might not play it that much. So I'm teaching them how to do it and the strategy behind it. They just get such a kick out of it. Even when we do it as a team, I often do it as a team. So that they're taking turns and working together and getting 3 in a row. And it's just fun. So I can do that with these items too. I'm not exactly sure how I would do it yet, but I would figure out a way. But I just wanted to share that game idea with you guys, just in case you're not doing that in your classes. Maybe you might want to do that with your students. So that is all for today. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the support. If you thought that it was helpful, please leave a like too. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.